All right, friends, I don't think I've ever started a video at like 5:06 p.m. right now, and I'm actually in line for none other than a Dutch Bros coffee. And I have Tara loaded up with a bunch of my stuff to head back up to the apartment and to start to sort through things before I'm actually living there. And the goal tonight is to get things as organized as humanly possible, without furniture, without really any storage solutions or organization, and without a plan. Tonight's really a free-for-all. We're gonna get caffeinated. We're gonna drive up there safe, about an hour and a half, I think, to go, and I'll see you in the apartment. It's actually pretty warm here. I think it's like 77 at the beginning of summer for sure. And down in elevation a little bit. I think Denver is at roughly 5,300, but that's all besides the point. I'm gonna get changed into something less white and less long sleeves. And then we're gonna get into the meat of tonight. Hair is in a braid, Tara is fed, comfy clothes are on. You guys know I mean business, and honestly I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now just looking at the sheer amount of stuff everywhere, but I know that when it's put away I'm gonna feel better. And the goal of tonight is just to feel better on Thursday when I officially move in. I have no other place to go, no camper, just a car and the apartment. It's gonna be a long night, but I know that I can do it. I've done it so many times before. I think at this point I've moved probably 13 or 14 times in my entire life. Granted, I've only moved as an adult maybe 6 or 7 times, but I think we got this.
I get lost looking in your eyes, a little shook up at the sight of you. It gets me every time. When I'm swimming against the tide, you're throwing me a line, pulling me back to you.
Well, while I sit here enjoying my morning cup of coffee with light streaming in and no creamer, unfortunately, because I have not purchased it yet, I want to tell you all a little bit more about the sponsor of today's video, June's Journey, a mobile detective game where you work to uncover clues and learn more about the murder of June's sister. During the game, you work to find hidden objects in beautifully crafted scenes, you collect coins, and learn more about June's family and who might have murdered her sister. Unsurprisingly, one of my favorite parts of the game has been collecting coins and building materials to help remodel June's family's mansion on Garden Island. Playing has been such a nice way to distress and get away from the chaos of my life lately because the scenes are super engaging, taking me away from this mess and into the colorful scenes of June's world. So if, like me, you're looking for a fun way to decompress, kind of escape the chaos of whatever your life might hold right now, or even just get back to your inner child and play a fun game, you can use the QR code link on screen or visit the link down in my description down below to download June's Journey for free. It is a free game today. And I hope that I'll see you all on the island soon. So we're caffeinated, Tara has been walked, block has been seen. The apartment is somewhat organized in that there are piles of places now, at least, where things will kind of go. The apartment is basically as empty as it's going to be from here on out. Let's do an empty apartment tour. Okay, so some imagination is going to be involved here, but I'm gonna do my best to show you what each space is going to eventually, hopefully, look like, starting in the living or like common room space. So when you first walk in, I'm going to try to define the space with a rug on the floor and some sort of seating bench area over here. Put your shoes on, drop your bag kind of situation. It's going to be small because obviously this wall is pretty tiny, and I don't want to put it over here because, one, you can't see, but I do have a furnace back here that I need to keep clear. And this wall is going to be home to my office. So I want to keep this as clutter-free as possible because when I'm working, I don't want to feel messy or cluttered, I guess. But this is generally speaking what the office space is going to look like. Don't really know yet what I'm going to do for a chair, but I'm hoping to actually build my own desk, build some shelving units, and then use eventually, when I can afford it, a computer monitor to do my work on, connect to my laptop, which will double as a little like TV movie screen, hopefully, for when I'm sitting on the other side of the living room on what hopefully will eventually hold my couch. So as I was saying, couch is gonna go on this wall here. On the floor, there will be some sort of surface rug to protect the hardwood floors, but also just to make it feel a little bit more cozy. I'm hoping on this side to have a large bird of paradise so it can get a little bit more daylight, but it doesn't need anything direct. And then on this side, because this corner is kind of dark, you can probably already tell how dark I am compared to when I was up there. I want to put some sort of tall defining lamp that actually points upwards and downwards over here, and that's going to allow me to have like a lower evening dimmable light for the couch if I want to read. Shooting video with the sounds of the city is going to be really interesting, isn't it? But this light will hopefully allow me to read, get some work done, have a lower light on at night because I really hate these overhead lights. They're just so aggressive. So when I turn it off, you'll see it's really dark in here. On this wall, I have two visions. My surfboard is there now. I think that ultimately is probably actually gonna get hung on this wall to just get it out of the way. I think on this wall, I'm going to ultimately mount a bike. I have seen a couple of cool little stand ideas that I might try to replicate with wood that just like hook the top to so it can hang there on the wall. And then the rest of that wall, because it is, you know, in the way of two doors that open, an entryway, I don't want it to feel busy. I think there's probably just gonna be like photos on that wall. Maybe I'll have a shelf or two with some plants, but keep that super simple so it's not cluttered. All right, so now this is the opposite side. Obviously, my place isn't that big. I think you can figure it out, of the living space. This wall is kind of shallow, and originally I was thinking it could be a cool spot to have a bookcase. Honestly though, now looking at it, I think the maybe 5 inches there and like 4 inches on this wall, it's probably gonna be too small for something like that, or really anything more than just like a decorative bit. So I have two ideas here. One is to make this like a hanging light wall, and again, the reason for that being, when I turn off the lights, even in the daytime, there's just no light facing this wall, so you can see how bright it is over here and how dark it is in that corner. Underneath the window, I would love to have some sort of media stand that is mostly just for plants, so not a media stand, more of a plant stand. Maybe throw some books in there. I would love to get like a record player and have a cool way to play some music at night, and just have this be like entertainment slash greenery. Okay, in the kitchen, I feel like I'm gonna have to get a little bit creative. These windowsills are kind of low and awkward in height, but what I'm really dreaming of is having some sort of little like breakfast seating area nook to have an area separate for eating, hanging out with a friend, having someone over, having my mom for dinner, whatever, or my dad, obviously, and just hanging out and having a dedicated space that's not the couch or my bed to be eating, and that's separate from my workspace. The biggest theme of this apartment, as small as it is having separate spaces. I have this tall area available and then a kitchen sink with no cabinet under it. So my hope is that this tall hutch will kind of bookend the kitchen. I'm gonna eventually, hopefully, learn how to sew and put some drapery around the bottom of the sink so that way I can hide my trash and maybe have just like a little shelf for cleaning supplies that are out of sight. And then this will be the end of the actual kitchen space. Last night when I was putting everything away, I feel a little bit confused myself. Originally, I was thinking I would be storing my plates and cups and all of that in those glass doored cabinets, which I think are so cute and beautiful. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I don't want to have food, especially things that are open, like grain bags, oatmeal, I don't know, spices and really fragrant things, just sitting out. I think I'll be okay with rodents in here. It is a plaster building, I believe, studs, but plaster on the outside, so not really a whole lot that mice or rodents could do to get in, but I just want to prevent that if at all possible. And also for Tara on those days when she might be here a little bit longer by herself, if I have to go to work or if I'm just out, I don't want it to be like a super smelly area for her to be tempted by. So I'm just gonna try to protect her, try to protect my food, and the added benefit to this is that if I do have some sort of tall stand, hutch, rattan cabinet, whatever I end up doing, it'll allow me to, over time, hopefully collect some really cool plates, mugs, etc. that I can display. That's always been something I wanted to do, and being on the road, that was really difficult because I just didn't trust myself to have like cool glasses and cool ceramics because things break. So I only have one ceramic mug, but I'm hoping to add to that collection soon, and it would be so fun to have them all out for me to see every day and enjoy. This is kind of starting to feel like a never-ending tour, and I'm cracking up because I think for anybody else, this is probably like the smallest, shortest apartment tour ever. But compared to what I'm coming from, this place is a mansion. But starting in the kitchen, let me turn the light on as well. Again, it's kind of dark, and now you can see better. I have this super funky stone sink, which I actually think is really fun. It's growing on me a lot. That I want to put that little curtain under just to help keep things, I don't know, a little more hidden. No one wants to look at the trash. On this side, I have this space that I feel like, I mean, I'm almost underneath it. It's probably like 5+ feet tall. But I feel like most people would probably put like a bar cart here or something. And I might ultimately do that. But what I'm really hoping to do is extend my countertop, because this is just tall enough for me where I could use this as space to cut things, prep things, set things out, etc. Now, I might go the bar cart, coffee cart route in that having it separate would be nice. Just if I am having people over, I could use this and move it like out into the other space. But ultimately, what I really want to make sure I do is to have the top of this cart and or to extend the countertop so that way this is all one level. So it's one really long, nice, extended area for prep. And because this part is so small, I mean, maybe we're talking 18 inches, I think it would just be nice to have a more open prep space, some better light, realistically, better for filming as well. And again, to just have something versatile that could go outside or out into the main area if I wanted to. Looking at the kitchen from this angle, I think it becomes pretty clear that there's not a whole lot that I can do. I think this is actually more narrow than my camper was. So this space is going to remain very open. I love the fact that all of these are glass because I do think that it makes a really tiny kitchen feel a little bit bigger. But one thing I'm gonna have to be really careful about is keeping all of these organized, which they are not right now. And I say that because when you're looking through things, it's nice to see things clean and organized and to not have just like a million bags of stuff. This all just directly came from the camper, so I'm not being too hard on myself right now. But it is something ultimately that I'm gonna prioritize, is keeping these clean so that way they don't look so chaotic and overwhelming. And then also whatever I can can't even believe how much storage this kitchen has. This is like an appliance area. So right now I have little things like my little coffee frother that I actually forgot about this morning. The other day I scored and got these Pyrex sets when I was at Goodwill with my mom for $2 each. I also have things in here right now, like my little hot pad when I don't feel well, and my Instapot and air fryer down here as well that I'm just gonna leave in there. It's hard to kind of see, and again, I'm not gonna do any design work, but down here on the floor, I just have some storage for pots and pans right now that, again, I eventually would love to have up on the wall displayed, since I spent a good amount of money on my stainless stuff, and I think it looks nice as decor, as well as some of my cleaning supplies that eventually will live underneath this sink. Okay, I think that's the kitchen for now. Let's go ahead to the bathroom. Bathroom is here, bedroom is here, and this is my closet, my actual like clothing closet. And again, nothing really fancy going on here. Right now I just have some of my clothes hanging. Most of them are actually folded up top. What eventually I'm hoping to do is move all of my big jackets out into that front closet, because that'll be like I'm grabbing a jacket on the way out the door. This will be for all of my like daytime, regular like street clothing outfits. And then all of my workout stuff, my wetsuits, my snowboarding gear will hopefully be able to live in that gear closet. So again, really separating the spaces so everything has a purpose. And part of the way I'm going to accomplish that in this closet, which doesn't really have a whole lot built in, just a hole in a shelf, is to bring all of this up, because again, all of my long hanging stuff and big jackets will be elsewhere. And then to just build a simple little organization shelf system below it, so I can have like a sock drawer, my pants all stacked up, that sort of thing. That's easier to get to than this jumbled mess right here. And something kind of funny, I don't know if I'll be able to do it actually, but I need to put a light switch on this. There's also a light right here, and it is excruciatingly bright. So that's either gonna have to be changed, or put on a switch. So kind of a weird angle, but behind me is the important part, not me. Hello, sweet girl. But the bedroom I think is actually one of my favorite rooms in the house, and that's because of the amount of light it gets. I actually have a window that faces east and south. The windows are closed right now, or the blinds, just because privacy purposes. But this window gets really amazing light throughout the day. I think it's gonna be really nice to wake up here in the morning with the gentle sunrise in the south/southwest. And my plan for this space is to keep it as open and simple as possible. Because I no longer have to have one space functioning as everything, there's no reason to make my sleep space so cluttered. Sleep is super important. I've really noticed huge benefits, not necessarily in sleeping environment with noises and being in a city, but with not having like all my dishes out, my toilet next to my bed, and like my stuff half on my bed for storage. I will have maybe 1 or 2 plants, but very minimal. So I'm thinking a shelf up above with maybe some cool art on it. Not really sure what that looks like yet. 1 or 2 plants, nightstands, fun lights, a space for Tara. And then I also would really love to get a full-length mirror going in here, because this is my bedroom. Yeah, that's all that's gonna go in here, but I do wanna make it fun. I wanna have pops of color in the bed, and ultimately just make it like my own safe space. All right, well, that is the whole tour. Let me grab my chair. Just want to say a couple of things before I go. Things have been kind of all over the place. It's not lost on me that that can be kind of confusing, and I just wanted to acknowledge that, and also all of you who have been here through the past couple of weeks, through the past couple of years. In last week's video, or I guess earlier this week's video, I asked you all if I should create a second channel for this type of content. And in that video, I did lose, I think, maybe like 100 or so of this community. And that's okay. You know, I know that I will be growing and changing over the course of my life, and this is just part of that evolution. And I also know that's not for everybody, so no worries at all. If it's not for you, I get it. I don't take it personally, and I just thank you for being here for the time that you were. But overwhelmingly, the feedback, excuse me, I'm still a bit sick, was that I should keep it all on one channel. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous about that, just because unfortunately I do have to think about things from a business perspective as well as a what do I want to do perspective, because at least for now this is still my full-time income. But that said, I am going to try. I'm going to listen to what you guys said. I'm going to listen to what you wanted, and I'm just going to launch myself into being as authentic as possible throughout this transition. And what that's going to look like is a mix of videos. Some weeks there might be furniture building videos, because that is my goal, is to build as much of my furniture as possible, or DIY flip things, and just make this space as budget friendly as possible. And I know a lot of you like that, so that's one part. I also, you might have seen earlier in this video that I was in a different car. I did get a new adventure vehicle. That's going to be a part of it, building that out, and most likely building it out in the woods, because I can't build in the street in Denver. I also am going to have a lot of camping style videos once that's done. This summer, Tara and I will be backpacking and hiking and going on adventures with friends, taking trips out of the city, especially midweek, probably when it's busy and we can't get parking. And so that's going to be a section of this channel as well. And I think that I'm nervous about this because I know that algorithms, if you're at all familiar with social media, really work to serve people consistency. And a lot of creators get really popular, do really well when they do one thing. They move into a van and they stay in it. They become a doctor and they post about those videos. They're a finance channel, a beauty channel, a zero waste channel. Name your poison and it's out there, I'm sure. And I've never been very good at that, if you couldn't tell. And maybe that's why, in part, this community has stayed smaller. I went from a zero waste channel way back in 2020 to van life, to bus life, to building a truck, to renting a car, to now an apartment and grad school and a sick dog. And I guess what I'm getting at here is I've never been great at it, but I also feel like I've always still had this hesitation within myself to lean into the fact that I'm just presenting my life and that I'm not trying to fit into a niche. So this monologue is a promise to you all that I'm gonna try. I'm going to make videos that are authentic to me. I try to always, but really truly just authentic to what I'm doing. I'm gonna make videos that hopefully will be relevant and helpful to you all and to people who might join the community in the future. And I'm gonna try to care a little bit less. It's hard because this is my income, but ultimately I think if I'm not having fun with it, or if I'm super stressed about it, that comes through, and you guys are really good at seeing that in me. And so I wanna let go of some of that perfectionism, some of the, I don't know, niche phobia that I've had about switching or including more things, and to just get back to being myself 100% of the time, no matter what that looks like. The last thing I want to say is thank you. Whether you're new, you've been here for 3 or 4 years, or you're just confused and this might be the last time you ever watch me, all of your support, whether it's through watching, liking, commenting, or interacting with and downloading things from my sponsors like June's Journey, which I'm gonna remind you is down in the description below for free. You can play with me online. These are ways that I make my income, and I cannot thank you all enough for your support through this time, because truly without you, not only would I not be here where I am today, but I also wouldn't be able to do things like get creative with my job, move to Denver, take care of Tara, get out camping, and share my love for the journey of life with you all. On that note, I will see you in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day.